So it's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by top promoter Dmitry Salita. Dmitry, how are you?
Big time boxing is coming, talking about good things.
I'm glad to hear it. Um, you've just come off a great event in Detroit. Claressa Shields retaining her undisputed middleweight titles against Marcela Cornejo. What did you make of the fight itself and the event as a whole? The people really came out for Claressa by the looks of it.
It was an amazing event and another statement that Clarissa for herself and for the world of boxing. Few fighters that can headline an arena, a big arena like Clarissa did, not fight. So this fight was incredible. It sold an incredible amount of tickets. Clarissa, that fight opened up big time boxing in the city of Detroit, an initiative that we've been working on for about 8 years throughout Detroit Brawl Series and different events that we have staged here. And it took Clarissa and that big fight to open up Little Caesars, which is the premier venue in the city of Detroit. The whole world was really here. People flew here from England, from Africa, from all over the United States. It was really incredible. Got tremendous amount of coverage from the New York Times, Associated Press, from the British periodicals, and it was broadcast on here in the United States as well as in the UK, and all types of broadcasters throughout the world. So it was really incredible that that the world, part of the world, stopped and paid attention to Claressa Shields, and the fact that a woman champion like Claressa Shields, who's lives down the block in Flint, Michigan, to open up boxing in a city like Detroit that has such a rich history. Tommy Hearns, Hill McKenty, Emmanuel Stewart, the boxing brand champions that grew up here is really special and meaningful. Downtown Detroit, there's the Joe Louis Fist, which symbolizes the fighting spirit. And for Clarissa to open up the Little Caesars Arena, which is home to the Red Wings, a real premier, quote unquote, Madison Square Garden, the city of Detroit, powerful and really incredible. Will usher in a new day of big time here in Michigan and Detroit.
And how much of a challenge was it for you when the opponent changed at short notice with Hannah Gabriel's failed test?
Very challenging. I mean, so much depend on it. Obviously, our deal with the television broadcast, also venue, but with Marcela Cornejo, I think within 48 hours of getting the notice from VADA that she failed a drug test, and it was a lot. But in my grown career order, it was an incredible experience. I'm grateful for it now. Obviously, I wasn't then, but I'm very grateful that I was able to deal with it and figure out a way to work. And it's almost never happens that placement is better than the original opponent. And Cornejo was the number one rated contender in three of the four sanctioned bodies. So it was really fantastic. And she was in the gym getting ready to fight, came to fight, was a class act all throughout and it turned out to be an amazing. Um, we also, on that show, the best fighters from the state of Michigan in the fights. We had Fortress, which is a Motown legendary band national anthem, cashed out hip hop superstar Clarissa onto the ring. So it was really a fusion of sure boxing music and boxing fans and the sports fans, city of Detroit, and those watching it on television really enjoyed it.
And I think a lot of fans in the UK were hoping that the next fight for Clarissa would be a rematch with Savannah Marshall after the success of their first fight here in the UK. Can you just tell us why that rematch or talks about rematch hasn't taken place yet and if it could still happen in the future?
Well, I feel that with French on Cruz fighting Savannah Marshall for both champions, and certainly the fight, whoever wins, there'll be a rematch because Clarissa made her debut against French on Cruz and beat Savannah Marshall in the UK, just a fight ago. So certainly, uh, there will be a significant build-up if a win, and certainly franchise can win. And if either one can do it in a more fashion versus each other, that certainly will build the storyline. I do want to say that, I've always said this, I love coming to the UK. It's an incredible culture, incredible. I've followed the sport of boxing decades. I've never seen an American fighter in the peak of their career go to the country of their rival and challenge them in their country. So Claressa went to Savannah Marshall's country, although it's a little early to talk about it. But, and, proof of concept is there. Claressa fought a placement and sold tremendous amount of tickets. So I really believe that financially and promotion wise, visibility wise, a fight if there's a rematch with Claressa and Savannah Marshall, for it to be Detroit, which is a 6-hour flight from Heathrow down to DT, the airport, that would be tremendous and historic. And if Savannah truly wants the rematch, well, pack those bags to Detroit City. Those initial thoughts on that. Obviously, a lot can change between now and if and when the conversation takes place. But seems to be that if there's that rematch, it would all make sense for it to happen here in the States.
And do you expect Savannah Marshall to come out on top in that fight for the undisputed super middleweight titles against Franchon Cruz-Dezurn? Takes place in, 10 days or so from when we're speaking now?
It's a very tough fight. I think Franchon has all the tools to beat Savannah Marshall, and she's a big punch, tough girl. It's a big test for her. My talk of Savannah is just theoretical, but it's not at all a foregone conclusion that Savannah is going to be the victor. French, all the tools and all the experience, the hunger to win this. So I'm not sure who's going to win that one. Only if Savannah does win, she would have shown improvement and changes and build up, the story for the rematch.
And would the rematch with Claressa, whoever wins, whether it's Savannah or Franchon, would that be up at 168?
I'm not sure. It's something that we'll have to discuss and negotiate. Once we cross that bridge, Claressa was a U.S. champion at 168. It's now the undisputed champion at 160. So we'll talk about it and we'll see what makes the most sense. Claressa's goal since the beginning of her career has been to make the biggest and the best fights, regardless of weight. She's gone up, she's gone down. She's fights are at and where the challenges are at. So I think that the weight will be a big stumbling block in making those fights happen.
How much of a challenge is it for you to keep finding new challenges and opponents for Claressa and building them up as a promoter to be a legitimate threat to her because she's proven so dominant?
That's a great question. And obviously you need rivals for boxing. And so we had to create it. The first one was Christina Hammer. Was the first rival that we created that seemed as a natural. She was long WBC world champion. We've had her fight on Claressa's undercard and build that she was a dominant figure. Claressa, Christina Hammer on a Saturday, first time a woman has fought on a Saturday on U.S. premium cable television. It was at Boardwalk Hall, another premier venue, and really his desire and goal to fight the best and to be the best has driven women's boxing to the next level. She is the face of women's boxing. There's other great champions, and I respect them for fighting fights and for taking the sport to the next level. But just truth be told, Claressa is in a league of her own completely, and and she, in the peak of her career, and she understands this and the responsibility that's upon her, and she has taken it responsibly. Everything happens for the best right time. We try to make this Savannah fight for a long time. Savannah was with Mayweather, because there were just so few fights to make, right? To make the women. She was with Mark, then she was with Eddie, and then wound up being with Sky and Mick Hennessy. She may have been with Mick Hennessy those different options, but he finally made the fight happen when that Savannah was now willing to make the fight. I called, way before, a year before the fight happened, a little more than before the fight happened. I called and started plans for the deal and for the fight to happen. And I'm glad that it happened. And amazing ratings, amazing build up. Almost didn't happen with the Queen passing, and but again, the timing was right, and everything turned out to be good. So I do want to say Claressa is the Muhammad Ali generation. So not only is opponent important, location is important. And for Claressa to Africa and for Claressa to find the Middle East would be very powerful as a symbol of as a role model who walks the walk and talk really every day of the week. For her to go to inspire the women and would be really incredible. For her to go to the Middle East, emerging as one of the hotspots for culture, for big time sport, would be really incredible and powerful, and something that will be remembered for generations to come. That would be one of the powerful social statements sports in a very long time.
Brilliant. Dmitry, as always, really appreciate your time and look forward to seeing Claressa back in action and you back with your promoting hat on.
Thank you. I do want to talk about something that we didn't bring up. I also had a June 9th show time at the Hall of Fame weekend. There's some incredible fighters that I want to talk about, all in the light heavyweight division. One of them was Lee Ismailov, who is a top 10 rated weight. He's the next big thing in the light heavyweight, and I believe that he will be. He beat 2-0 Charles Foster. Ali was role going into that fight, and Charles was number 14 in the IBF. A big step up and an incredible fight. And Richard Van Sickle, Juan Carrillo in the co-main event, both undefeated fighters. It was for the WBO Intercontinental title. Juan Carrillo won that fight in a very impressive and exciting way. So he's a guy to look out for in the light heavyweight division. And Clay Waterman, a light heavyweight from Australia, young guy, someone to look out for. I believe has a lot of potential. We see in Australia now that there is some good fighters, particularly Tim Two and a couple of others. So Australia has been a place that produced some great champions, and I believe that Clay Waterman has the skills to go in that direction. So we did have a busy June, and looking forward to getting right back to it mid to late summer.
Excellent. Dmitry, really appreciate that. And yeah, let's catch up again soon.